We're in the home stretch as it's time for another episode of On Isles Time. Brendan Yerkes, Cole Healy here with you as the New York Islanders are down to it. Just over 15 games to go in the season. The trade deadline has passed. It's been over a month, well, I guess just about a month since our last episode. So a lot to talk about and a lot going on for the New York Islanders.
Yeah, we finally hit that deadline. I know we're kind of building up to that this whole year, and then here we are. It's passed, and yeah, I mean it really is that final stretch now. I believe 15 games left at this point. The Eastern Conference is extremely tight right now, so yeah, it's gonna be an eventful finish to the season.
It'd be nice if the Columbus Blue Jackets lost hockey games here and there. I
Yeah,
mean, the Islanders have had some ridiculous comebacks in recent games, but I feel like not as many as the Penguins and Blue Jackets have had, being down by multiple goals late in many games. They've all seemed a way to come back and at least get a point. So that's been a little frustrating. But the Islanders have done their part for the most part. Things have slowed down a little bit. They've lost some tough games in the last 2 weeks, but um, finding a way, well, not really playing their best hockey because they've gone down so many times, and the fact that they came back in so many games is kind of ridiculous, but it's just not sustainable. So hopefully they could get things right on this current road trip coming up, 3 games in the eastern part of Canada. So we'll see what's going on with that. But lots to get to. We haven't talked for about a month. We're gonna try as to get back to our every other week uploading schedule as we're in the home stretch here and push for the playoffs. We got kind of sidetracked in the last few weeks, but the big news was the Braden Schenn trade that went down just over a week and a half ago. The trade deadline with an hour to go until the deadline. We all thought it'd be maybe Robert Thomas, more likely Jordan Kyrou. The Islanders going for a top six forward. The market was just too ridiculous, too expensive at this point, and the Islanders end up settling on Braden Schenn to add to the team. He's got 2 more years after this season on a contract worth, I believe, 6.25 million per year, and shipping out the other way the Colorado first round pick, which is pretty hefty, even though we'll be towards the back end of the first round. The New Jersey Devils third round pick they got in the Andre Palat trade. Marcus Gidlov, a goaltending prospect who I think has some potential, so I didn't really love giving him away as a seemingly throw in this trade. And Jonathan Drouin finally goes, and we can put a rest to that and his not scoring since November, even though he did score in his first game for St. Louis. So that's the big news. Braden Shen, he's looked good, I think, so far with the Islanders. He's been physical, a nice presence to have, and contributed slightly offensively. He has 2 assists now in 3 games, so that's been good to see, and hopefully more comfort as it goes on. Cole, what were your initial thoughts on the trade?
yeah. I mean, like Braden Shen just seems like the type of guy that would play for the Islanders somewhere. Like he's just that style. Like like he seems like a guy Lou would have traded for. I feel like he really kind of fits into what Lou liked in his players. And that's not to say Braden Shen's still a solid player, right? He's obviously he was a captain of the Blues. He won that cup back in 2019. As a just looking at him as a player alone, sure, yeah, I think he's a good player for this team. The problem is and we have so many, physical guys, or not even physical guys, just like guys who aren't going to put up a ton offensively. Oh yeah, I mean, he has those 2 points already. Um, I think myself and a lot of people going to this deadline, yeah, like you mentioned, like the Jordan, you would have expected like a Jordan Kyrou type player. Obviously, that would have cost much more. So yeah, like, I feel like Braden Shen doesn't really move the needle, but I do think he's still he's a solid addition. Um, yeah, I mean he has looked fine. Yeah, he's had a couple big hits so far. That first game in San Jose when all this stuff was going with like Barzal had that little hit on Celebrini that everyone was upset about. Yeah,
That
not
was a
it
nothing
was,
play.
we're not gonna get into that, but yes, that
No
was
nonsense.
definitely an overreaction. Um, but yeah, like it came out a couple of days later that Shen went over to the bench and like he's ready to go. Then the one who kept that going once play started up again. So yeah, no, he's definitely Shen does bring a lot, and yeah, I mean he's looked pretty good so far, so I really can't complain. Um, so yeah, I mean once we get into the playoffs, he's definitely that's where you're really going to start to see I guess the best parts of his game. That's where he's really going to thrive, I believe. Um, yeah, the return, I would have liked to not give up that Colorado first. I think a lot of people agree with that. It's definitely probably a little bit of an overpayment. Um, but it's not shocking with how the market was at this deadline. Like, it was just some of these prices were ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, the Colorado first can be late. It won't be 32 now with the league gave Ottawa their pick back and guaranteed 32 for them. It'll be what, 28 to 31 for
Well, if they make it that far with that division, it's so cramped.
yeah.
But now I
That's
guess we have to hope they make it that far because then if they don't, and it ends up being like you know, a mid first, you're gonna be
yeah.
upset with yourself. But I
Even
just like I don't know. I have mixed feelings overall in the trade. Like I don't mind it, and I don't mind Schenn as a player. But then it's like we're trying to get younger, and Darch has very emphatically said he wants to get younger and faster. Then he's traded for three older players, and Palat only has one more year after this year. But Schenn having 2 years after this year, the cap hit's not going to kill you, but it's just like it clogs up the middle again. Like, yeah, he could play center or wing, but you're just bringing in another older guy and kind of slowing things down. And yes, the market was so ridiculous that getting a Kyrie type player like we all want seemed unlikely because the price was going to be so high. But then it's confusing to me because then you pay so much for Schenn. It's like, why wouldn't you just then package either a little bit more to get somebody better, or just not make the trade at all? Like that's where I get confused because like the positives are like Schenn, I think is going to be very valuable for Cal Ritchie's career. We've already seen it. There've been a lot of reports about that. Maybe we look back in 5 years and Ritchie's a tremendous player, and we say, "Oh, Braden Schenn is the reason why he's as good as he is." That's a possibility, but it's just you're right. It's just such a fit. Like it's just a Lou type trade, and I know people want to like crucify Darsh on Twitter, and I've seen just people ripping him apart. Like, oh, he got worked this deadline. Like, yeah, like they gave up a lot. I think Gidloff could be a solid goalie, maybe in a couple years, maybe, or like the extra third, like either Gidloff or the extra third being in there. I feel like you could have took one of those out. It seemed like a lot going the other way, but especially because we took the full contract too. That's part of it. Like I feel like maybe one last asset, I'd feel a little bit better, but it just feels like they gave up a lot. Now, some people are like, "Oh, it's going to go so horribly." Why would you root against your team? Like, what? It's like it's happened. Like now we just have to accept it and hope he does well. And he's fit in well so far, so that's a good thing. It's just I'm confused on the direction from Darsh. I know he said he didn't give up any of the prospects, and that was the goal going into this deadline. But like, you could have brought in another prospect. Like, yes, late first, they don't always pan out, but if you're in this position, aren't you trying to stockpile young players? Because, yeah, you could go out and maybe in the summertime be easier to trade for a top line winger like they want. The price will go down. There's more options available. But now you just trade away one of the assets to do that for Schenn. And now you're kind of stuck with him. Not per se stuck, but you have him kind of under contract, locked into that lineup for 2 years. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. But I mean, is it the end of the world? No, but it's just a little bit of a confusing move. Although I think, yes, it will help the team. It's just strange the philosophy Matthew Darsh took.
Yes, I agree with that. And like because I know we talked about it before we started recording. It's like we didn't know Jonathan Drouin was in it until like an hour after the trade was first reported. So in that hour, I know a lot of people, I know myself and some other people were saying, "Oh, I wonder what this means for Pat Joe now." Um, I feel like this whole year we were talking about leading up to the deadline and how you should trade Pajot because he's going to get a ton on the open market, or he'll be he's one of the better centers available, right? So you'd probably get some good offers thrown at him over the summer, and we should just trade him for a haul at the deadline, and then use that to again build for the future. Um, so I know that was a talking point, I guess, before Drouin was announced as part of the trade, and then yeah, I mean Drouin, I think that was reported before the JG Pajot extension was announced. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we had to assume somebody was in it. It made sense. I mean, Duran, it's a shame because he's a good guy. He tried. He wanted to be here, but just didn't score for 3 months. It wasn't going well. I think it was all a mental thing, and it was just like Patrick Waugh was just like, no, it's fine. Like they didn't take him out of any games. It was just like they were telling us it was all fine just to trade him away. It's like you should have scratched him for a game
yeah,
here or there.
yeah. It's really unfortunate because like he had such a good start. I think he had what 14 points his first 17 games.
Right, and I saw this
Yeah,
on Twitter. It's going to be the trivia question: who scored the goal on Matthew Schaefer's first NHL point? It was Jonathan Drouin.
there was a point in time where Jonathan Drouin made up 100% of all Islander goals.
But for one period,
Yeah, something like that. A brief point, a brief period in time, but
he scored the first goal of this season. But yeah, and then he scored obviously in his first game with St. Louis. But yeah, it's a shame it didn't work out. We all kind of saw something was going to have to happen with him, but the team was like, no, it's fine. He's playing well, and then they just shipped him out. So it's like, all right, maybe that's not true. But yeah, it's just the Pajot thing. We were like, yeah, what are they going to do? They're going to trade him now. They're going to have Schenn play that role and capitalize on this market and kind of recoup assets back. But they got Pajot on a very good deal. He would have probably would have got more than six,
yeah,
right, on the open
yeah,
market. I'm
that's
probably short term
good.
still, but or maybe he could have got about the same, but for longer. I mean, only doing 3 years at 4.85 is great work. He's at a 5 right now, and obviously with the cap going up, he would have got more. And he's just so underrated. It's good to see now everybody kind of appreciate it. Like, all right, where he's not getting traded, we don't have to talk about that anymore and just appreciate what he does because I feel like after the first 2 years, like the last couple years of his contract, everyone's been saying, well, he gets paid too much, he doesn't do anything, and he had maybe a down year or two with some injuries and just some struggles along with the rest of the team not being great. But you're kind of seeing in more recent years how much he does for the team, winning faceoffs, killing penalties. He's been producing offensively more last year and this year. He just does so much. He's a likable guy, and to take that discount and only for 3 years is just such a huge boost. Like, yeah, you're not bringing in assets back, but you keep the player that's kind of the engine of your team, and that makes me happy to see that he's finally getting the appreciation that he deserves for what he does. Because I know for so many years everyone was saying, "Oh, 5 million, it's so much," but he does a lot, and it's just the way it is now. So happy for JG that he gets to stick around. Happy that Matthew Dart took care of it now and don't have to worry about it going into the summer and say, oh, what if he walks and the Islanders don't get any assets back? So that was some good business around when the trade happened. And then, yeah. But again, my overall thoughts gave up a little much for my liking, but Schenn's a good player. He fits the system. And as long as he doesn't stop prospects when they're ready, not to force anybody, when they're ready to come in and play, I think he'll be a good guy to have around.
Yeah, and then he's also, I feel like he contributed to a little bit of a style boost to Simon Holmstrom, letting him wear 92 now. That number trade going down, giving Schenn number 10, obviously, and then Holmstrom goes back to his junior number wearing 92. I'm always a fan of the top heavy numbers where the first digit's large, significantly larger than the second digit. I don't know what it is. I just feel like they always look good.
It's just so weird to see. It
Yeah,
takes a while to get used to because he wore 10 for a while now. I mean, who knows what he would have chose if he actually had the option if Lou didn't just give him number 10. But it works, and he had a 2 goal game on Saturday, which was awesome. But he's one of my favorites. I think I've made that very clear on this podcast.
yeah,
He's a tremendous player,
just solid, does everything right.
and
And
yeah,
then you put
and
that
him and
duo, here's
Pageau
that duo.
together.
Yep.
Shorthanded goal connection again on Saturday, and they do it all. It's been great to see that 92 out there doing its thing. But to move on to more for the Islanders here in these last couple games, so they're 5-3 since the break, since they came back. They started out 3-0, so technically a 5 game heater based on the games before the Olympic break, but it has not been pretty because those first three they were down 2-0, and then they came back and then they go out west, get smacked by Anaheim in LA. Not good. They beat San Jose. They're down 3-0 in St. Louis to a very bad St. Louis team. They come back and win in overtime. It's
Yeah.
not sustainable. They can't play this way. They did it again on Friday. They go down 3-0 to the Kings at home. They score two, and then they dominated that third period, but that third one was just they couldn't get it, and they end up losing in regulation. But it's not sustainable to play this way, and they're playing it over their heads. Like that, maybe the Islanders aren't as good as where they are, but we've seen earlier in the year they've played games better than this. Close games, they find a way to win. Or they weren't all ridiculous comebacks. There were some, but this has been now 2 straight weeks of this, and they got to settle things down because they cannot continue to keep chasing hockey games like this.
Yeah, you don't want to see just games that are this eventful every single night like that, and that's just not, because obviously, main goal here is the playoffs, right? That is not playoff hockey. If you get off to a bad start in the playoffs, it's not looking good for you. We finally against Calgary on Saturday, jump out to a 3-0 start, and then it's the opposite. Like they don't, these past couple games, right? Like over the, really since the Olympic break, bad start, and they're playing like a good 40 minutes, and then most of those games they were able to come back and win. It's the opposite with this Calgary game. They played a solid first 40 minutes, and then that third period, it just you don't feel good about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I
Yeah.
don't even think that the second was particularly great. I think it was fine, but you
Mm-hmm.
could tell they just kind of sat back and kept it simple, which is fine. Keep it simple, but they kind of sat back and Riddick had to make one or two good saves, and the Islanders had some looks too. But the second, they didn't give up any goals; it was just fine. But then they gave up the quick one in the third, and you knew what was going to happen, and they just got worked. They sat back and they got worked, and then they had to hang on for dear life in a game that they should have, ran out the building. This was like the Nashville game at the end of January. It's like they go up 2-0 very quick, and they sit back and they let them take it, and then they ended up losing that one. So these things can't happen. Like it needs to be settled down, and maybe this trip here they can get it right, playing some good opponents. I mean Toronto first, but still, they're all these Canadian teams are always always a high level of competition. So it's
It'll be a tough road trip. It'll never be
yeah.
easy.
But these comebacks, I mean, they're awesome. I mean, I can't complain when they do it. It's fantastic. It's fun to watch when they somehow come back and they win in overtime. But it's you can't keep doing it this way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 10-0 in overtime, like first team ever to win their
I can't
first
believe
10
that.
overtime games. It's like you just think about the last couple years and think about all the just so definitely some devastating losses. I know, like last year, especially for me, it was just it's coming. So it's like I wasn't even like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like an empty feeling when you just know it's coming and you're just sitting there wasting your 2.5 hours every other night just watching them blow it game after game. And it's like there's so many of those games over the last 2 or 3 years, and then here we are winning, going 10-0 in overtime. Like
And that's why
it's
this year feels special, and it feels like what, we deserve this. And it's not like, oh, this is a fluke. This team is just good. Like this is the same core of players that had this in them, and they're winning. Like after, it's just like it's the turnaround that is like deserved. It's like because like you said, last year was just so brutal. Like it was like clockwork every night. They'd find a way to have a lead, they'd be up, and then they'd just give up two goals late in the third period, and they'd lose. And it was just the same thing every single game. And now they've kind of stopped that a little bit. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's hockey. It's an 82 game season, but not at that extreme level. Even though it's still things are a little messy right now. And
definitely too. There's too much going on. You want like I know you're just talking about keeping it simple, right? If you can just simplify the game, just kind of take it down a notch, just play calmer almost. Um, yeah, get that couple goal lead. Still continue to press after getting that lead, but yeah, just kind of find a way to just slow the game down. Just defend the lead definitely, but like yeah, just there's too much going on. You don't want to see comebacks, potential comebacks. Again, like you said, that's fun, right? It's fun to come back, but you don't want to find yourself in a position where you have to come back every single night.
the only benefit is that when they're down 3-0 and it's early enough in the game, you're like, all right, I know they can do it. They're comfortable in this position. But when it's three times in the matter of a week, come on.
Yeah,
So like if they're down, say in a playoff game, they go down 3-0. It's like, all right, this game's not over.
yeah.
But you want to be in close games. Obviously, you want to always be winning and just be stress free. But that's not the reality of it. Just to be in close games. But it's always just feels like, oh no, like they're playing well, something bad's gonna happen. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
that feeling from last year and previous years is starting to come back just based on the way
Yeah.
they've been playing.
Is
And I
that
think it's just we're more on edge with it because, like I said earlier, Columbus just refuses to lose. And
yeah,
I know the wild card race is an option now, so there's like four teams we're scoreboard watching. Like my view is I don't care where they make it in. Just make it in.
yeah,
You know? Like I would prefer not to play Carolina, but just make it in the playoffs. You never know what
yeah?
could happen. Hopefully somebody like Boston falls out. But every game's important. Like we're playing Ottawa on what, Thursday?
I believe so.
They're creeping up.
Yeah,
Like the Flyers
they're
have
at
crept up now. I don't think they're
77
gonna make it, but they're
for
in
wild
the
card.
they're in the picture now. Like everybody's in it.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh seemingly they won't fall out. Crosby hasn't played. Malkin's been suspended. They're still winning.
yeah,
So you can't. have a bad week. We've said it all year, and we thought it would start to fade out some teams more, and some have, but it's still an intense race. And this has been a weird year for hockey, at least in the Eastern Conference, and the way the playoff picture is. But we've held the same spot aside from being in the two a little bit, but we've been in that three spot for 3 or 4 months, and it could all change. We play Columbus on Sunday, less than a week away. That's probably the biggest game of the season. I mean, we could say that about every game now, but that's the big one.
You sound like a specific person on Twitter here.
Uh,
Must win, must win. But
well,
yeah, no, it's definitely a very important stretch coming up. Yeah, I mean, Toronto's kind of. It's like you want to, obviously Toronto's way out of it now, right? But it's still the least. Like you can't feel comfortable with anyone in the East really, other than maybe the Devils and the Rangers.
nope,
It's like even these teams that are towards the bottom of the Eastern standings, like even like Florida, obviously, like Florida's been through so much these last 3 years, 2 cups, three finals. Like it doesn't feel right. Like in counting them out in a game against them. So yeah, like it's just such an important stretch coming up. Yeah, you got 3 games up in Canada this week. Got Columbus coming up. Yeah, I mean, this is where we're really gonna see what the team is made of. Um, hopefully they find a way. And again, just keep it simple, not have to come back every night, and get a lead that actually feels safe. Don't because that Calgary lead, yeah, once as soon as like you said, as soon as they got that first goal in the third, Calgary, the game did not feel safe.
nope.
So yeah, just find a way around that. Obviously, it was Riddick on Saturday. Like when Sorokin's playing, I think Wall just announced he's starting versus the Leafs, as everyone expected, I'm sure. Um, obviously, yeah, definitely a little different when Sorokin's in because you just have so much confidence that he's gonna stop whatever comes his way.
Also, can I say this about the goalies? Why they do Sorokin against the Kings in LA, and then Riddick had the Ducks game, right? Which is fine. You want to try it that way. They said maybe they should have flipped it. Whatever. Doesn't work out. So then the next week they play the Kings again, and then Ilya goes against the Kings after having a rough one against them last time. Why not switch it the other way?
Yeah, I agree. Just
Especially because Riddick lost to Calgary earlier in the year too. Not that
yeah,
it's specific to that's why, but I thought that was a little bit questionable. I mean, it worked out. They got the split. You could only really ask for the split, but I thought
yeah, but yeah. Like
that
I
was
think Riddick
questionable.
hadn't beaten Calgary in his career until Saturday, and it's like obviously, yeah, it's good to see him get the win, but when you have a back to back, why would you start the guy that's never won versus that team against them?
Like I don't know if I'm just thinking of playing it safe, but obviously the Kings are the better team. So my thought process was put Ilya in Saturday, guarantee the Saturday win,
Yeah,
or at least feel more confident about that, and then take your chances on the Friday.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree, but
I mean, it
it's
worked out. It just I know a lot of
yeah.
people have questioned Patrick Waugh moving the lines around and everything too
Yeah.
much, which
With this one, yeah, I mean, it's definitely pretty valid criticism with this back to back specifically because obviously, yeah, like you said, the Sorokin just played versus the Kings and struggled.
right. Like I remember the Calgary one because that was in January. I mean, that was like 2 months ago now, but just like when it happens a few days before, I feel like you'd be like, maybe that's not like the best way
Right.
to do it. I mean, it worked
Yeah.
out in the end. I mean, they lost that game, which stunk, but Ilya's the guy going forward. But just looking at the standings one more time, it's like my preseason prediction was that if the Islanders make the playoffs, it's going to be in a Metro spot and not a wild card spot, which sounded crazy initially, but just with the division being weaker, it makes more sense now. But the crazy thing is, what will be the reaction if Detroit falls out for the third straight year? I mean, if I was to make a bet right now, I would say that's what happens.
Hmm.
They're falling, Larkin's out, and just with Columbus coming, Ottawa coming, if anybody's going to fall out, it's them. And I honestly thought Pittsburgh would, but it doesn't seem like it. I'm still waiting for Boston to fall out, but they find a way to keep winning. It's just it's strange. I mean, it's so crazy, but I think Columbus is going to get in, and I think Detroit's going to fall out. If I had to predict one thing, and then the only other one would be Boston and Ottawa, but Boston might get to stay. But I
Yeah.
mean, if somebody falls out, good because I want as long as we find a way in, like
Yeah. Yeah. I
got to
don't care
keep
what
winning.
happens below us. We just gotta stay where we're at.
What do you think the number is? Islanders are at 81 right now.
15 games left. I mean, I mean, 10 wins should get. I mean, for us at least, we got that little gap there. We're 1 point up on the wild card. I mean, 10 wins, definitely. So that's 10 points there. Then I think 93. I
I think
think 90,
93 gets you
93
in.
might be the number.
I was gonna say 95. I think it might be a point higher this year. I mean,
It's
again,
just, it's just so tight. Yeah, because I mean, it does feel like Columbus and Pittsburgh never lose.
but think about it. I mean, we can't really complain now with the loser point because of the way we
Yeah,
were the last like 3 years.
yeah.
But this year now it's like now we're like we only have 5 OT losses and Pittsburgh has 15.
I won't give me Pittsburgh in the first round.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean
That would be
that's
great.
the ideal spot.
Yeah,
If we could have jumped them for home ice a few times. Of course, those are the times that the Islanders weren't able to get it done. But they still, I think, play one more time.
yeah,
And now the games in hand are basically even. I mean, Pittsburgh seemingly still has the extra one, and so does Columbus, and they have for a little while now. But I think it won't be more than one anymore.
yeah,
And if it is, maybe for a day. But I think now we're at that point in the season where it's all evening out, so we don't have to worry about that too much. But I mean, even if we don't have home ice, if we can make it in against Pittsburgh with that, I'm not really worried.
yeah, yeah. I mean, 2021, we didn't have home ice against them. They won the division, and then we took that series in six. I don't know what I just feel like whenever we play Pittsburgh in a big game, we're coming out on top. I mean, there's that what was it 20 to 23. We won every game in the regular season, and then Pittsburgh ended up missing by a point or two. And it seems like a lot of those games were later in the season when it mattered most. There's obviously the comeback with Nelson on the breakaway in overtime. That was the big one from that
There's
year.
the other one, what and Horvath connected late in the
Yeah,
game. So,
yeah,
and those were both in Pittsburgh. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
I think if we found a way the Islanders had to play Pittsburgh, I'd feel confident about that series. But I think for the organization and what they're like building and trying to like get people excited and get people to buy tickets and all that stuff, I think having home ice game one at UBS Arena,
Oh my
even just
God.
for the first round, I think would be so meaningful because obviously, like when I went to Game Three in 2023 against Carolina, the first ever playoff game at uh, at UBS, and that one was we were down in the series 2-0. So it's like people were excited still, but you were like that nervous energy in the air. Now, if say this one, if they went back to Game Three and it was a split, it'd be that like people would be excited, like oh we got the split, like we're fired up, we're going home tied. But think about what the energy would be for a game one, starting a playoff series. We have home ice, we have this fun team. That would mean something because I didn't go in 2024, but I just know. I mean, obviously 23, everyone thought we had a slight chance, even though it was unlikely. 2024, the Islanders were so outmatched, and everybody knew it. They were down 2-0, and going into that game three, it was just like this. The season is on the ropes right now. Like they were just like, not that I was there, but that's just kind of the vibe I've heard. So going into this year, if they can get home ice game one, the the roof might explode. And everybody wants to talk about the Coliseum and there's no home atmosphere. When they win, there will be those moments. When moments that make these, you know, home feelings and like what say like some crazy overtime winner happens, they win a series at UBS, then that's where everyone's gonna be like, oh, that's where it comes from. The stories make make the home ice advantage.
I believe it was the game against Florida. Is that Schaefer had 2 goals, and then Andersley took comes down with like 30 seconds left, wins
Yeah, I
it,
know how
whatever.
he moved like that.
I know that was, and I saw a lot of people saying that was, it's like the loudest they've heard UBS so far. And like it's really starting to feel like home. And here, what is this, year 5 now of
Five.
UBS? Yeah, like it's, obviously hasn't really been smooth sailing coming up to this point. Little, we've experienced all ends of the spectrum. But now it seems like they're really starting to build towards something. And obviously, I feel like we haven't even talked about Schaefer that much today. Schaefer is obviously the main factor behind that, right? But again, that's
Yeah.
what you
I
need.
mean, he's gonna win the Calder. We know that now. It's not
Yeah,
really a debate
he's a
anymore.
lock.
Yeah, he's been great, still putting up points. But yeah, it just the first couple of years at UBS just starved for it. Like I was dying for like, where's this energy? Because I've tweeted it out before. It just drives me nuts because every time that you seemingly would be like, oh, that's a great goal, crowd's into it. They just give up a goal right back, and then it
Yeah,
just the crowd quiets down again. But this year, there's been more moments of the place coming alive, and And it's the moments, like the legal, like that's something that's like that builds it. Like the Coliseum, why does it have the reputation? Because they made the playoffs and it would just be nuts, and everybody they used to win. There would be crazy hits, crazy energy, like big moments. That's where it comes from. Everyone's going to talk the same way about UBS, say in 5 years that the Islanders go on a couple runs and have crazy moments and win games in overtime and win playoff series. All these things contribute to that.
Yeah.
And once the crowd gets into it, it's going to be great. But yeah, just over the years, just moments I've seen, like I've heard, I'm like, oh, this is the loudest I've heard it. This is the loudest I've heard it. I've said it a couple times, but it's flashes. And that's
Yeah.
why it's so frustrating because you're just waiting for it to be every game, consistency. And this
Yeah.
year I've seen a lot more of those moments. Of course, some of the probably the loudest ones I think I've missed this year, but I've seen some good ones. And the playoffs, that's it's going to get loud in there, and that's what
Yeah.
I want to hear.
It's gonna be great. And yeah, like, if they, especially Pittsburgh, if we get Pittsburgh round one, like I'm feeling good about that series. Obviously you probably get Carolina round two, which I don't know. I think I don't know, they just I don't know. I'm obviously around Canes fans quite a bit, right? So I know, they're Carolina's obviously a great team. Canes are a great team. I'm shocked they didn't do more at this deadline with, because it seemed
Me
like
too.
Florida was always there. Florida, they always had to get past Florida. Florida's out of it this year, and they got Nick Delorier. That was their one guy. Um, and obviously, we're so used to Carolina going to the conference finals, right? I feel like they're due for a disappointing year. So who knows? Maybe that lines up well for us. We'll see.
Well,
Um,
I think the market might have been too much for them, but I think given their situation and that they've been there, but they've been knocking on the door. They should have traded a ridiculous haul to go get somebody. Because if
yeah,
you like, you have a good team, and this is the window, like this is the competition you have. You have to take the swing.
yeah.
Now
This is their best chance that they've had this
we're
year.
getting ahead of ourselves talking about playoffs and already winning one because we still have a
Yeah.
month to go, and a lot of things can go horribly wrong.
Yes, lots of moving parts.
But
Yeah.
say we end up in that situation. Do I think we would beat Carolina? No. But there's a different animal to it when you already win a round and you have that confidence. Hey, we just beat Pittsburgh, say it is. We just won a round. Now we're going into Carolina. You know what? Now we have some momentum. With the last 2 years, it was kind of like they stumbled into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now we have to play this beast. It'd be different if they won. And the other thing is their goaltending. Bussy's been good this year, starting to come down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you trust that in the playoffs?
I've been
And
saying for the
that's
last
what's going to
four
hurt
years
them the
they need to
most.
trade for a goalie. Like I don't know what if Bennington was truly available or not, but I would imagine St. Louis would have been listening.
You read my mind.
The guy, obviously Four Nations last year won that. Like he played good. He was he was really solid in the Olympics, right? Again, making a gold medal game. The guys won Game 7 of the Cup Finals. Like that's a guy. If you're the Canes, like I feel like that's the exact type of guy you want.
He fits that mold. He really does. I just,
Kachekhov's out for the year, so you got
oh,
Bussy and Anderson. I'm like, yeah, I mean, Bussy's been really good this year, right? But he's like you said, he's coming back down to earth. It was, it wasn't really. It was really just a matter of when it was going to happen. I feel like a lot of people knew that. Not to say he's not good, right? Because he's been really solid this year, but it was, at least to me, it was definitely obvious that he wasn't going to keep up those numbers the entire year. And then Anderson, like one game he'll look great, one he looks like he's never played hockey before. So it's really like I just don't understand their approach not getting like a true starting goalie. Um, yeah, we'll see. But again, just to go back, if we were to line up with Carolina in round two, even if we, which I still think very good chance we lose that series, right? But it would be a different feel than all the other losses to them, and like it's just I think it would be we stayed with them, like close games, tight games, where it still feels like we have it. Like I feel it was close games these last two times we played in the playoffs, right? But the whole time it didn't really feel like there was any
we were
chance
just
of
chasing. I
winning.
mean,
Yeah,
they were the better team. We got hosed a little bit at times,
yeah,
but
but yeah. Like you didn't feel confident or like comfortable at all in any game because it just felt like there was no chance of us winning. But now this year, I think that would change. Like I think it'd still be close games, but you'd feel better about the games.
Right. But here's the
Even if
weird
they're
thing
all
though. We've only played them once.
yeah,
So that's what's so like odd about it. Like we went to Carolina and I think that was either October or November.
yeah, October 30th.
And you were there and it was just so that was so long ago in this season and we haven't seen them again. We played them twice in the last month. I think the last week we played them twice.
Yes, it'll be April 4th and then the 14th, the last game of the year.
Right. And I think we only played them three times based on the schedule
Yeah,
situation. I think is Pittsburgh the other one we only played three times,
might be.
which is funny because that's who we're obviously
Yeah,
competing with here. Which I know
big
I
game.
said we played them one more time, but it's a weird thing. Like that's going to be a test. Like the last 2 weeks, if we're still battling for points, we're going to get some Carolina intensity, which they might be already clinched into the first place spot in their in the division, but then they're still going to be battling for the top overall seed in the East. So they're that's going to be a good test going into the potential playoffs. But I know we got a little sidetracked here talking about what could happen, but the Islanders still have to win their games going into that. It's been good to see Matt Barzell, especially in St. Louis, take over, have a good game. It just like it feels like all the offense isn't coming contributing at the same time. Like Barzell was the facilitator in the St. Louis comeback, but the Calgary game it was the Holmstrom line, and Sezikis obviously had the first goal, scoring all the offense. So you kind of need to put it all together.
Yeah, like it's been. Like, I just want to touch on Barzell just very quick. I think this is the best hockey he's played his whole career. Like, obviously, it's not the points aren't adding up to that 85-point rookie year he had, but just overall, he's just doing everything right this year. Yeah, so I just want to touch on that really quick. But yeah, no, I agree. It's not all lining up at the same time. Like, and that's what makes you hopeful, I guess. Like, it's frustrating now because you'll see, yeah, one line is a great game, then they don't really do much the next game. Oh, another line stands out. It's like if they can even just get like two lines hot at the same time, right? Get your first and second line hot at the same time. Like that's gonna be not a say a pro. Like I don't want to go on the record saying, oh yeah, they're gonna be a problem because it's still a solid team, right? But they're not a top end team at this point offensively. But if yeah, I mean you get your top six hot, like I think they're comfortably in a playoff spot, and I think they overtake Pittsburgh for that second in the Metro. And like, but that's what like they're capable of it, and that's what I guess makes you feel good about it because you know it's possible, they're capable of doing it. It's just a matter of will it actually happen?
Well, the
And
problem
honestly,
is it always falls on Barzell and Horvat's shoulders, which there's not enough guys. That's why the big trade for a winger would have helped so much. But
yeah,
again, the market didn't allow that. So maybe in the offseason or one of these prospects come up. I mean, we know Victor Ekland's coming next year. Where he's going to play, don't know. Minors maybe. I wouldn't mind whatever they decide to do. They'll know if he's ready or not. I mean, Bridgeport's gonna be loaded next year. College free agents starting to come in, which we'll talk about Eiserman in a little bit. But yeah, these guys up top, and Barzell's been carrying the load. He's been carrying the load too, probably just as much. But he's been, I feel like, streakier. Like Horvat will have a 5 game heater. He'll score like a goal a game, and then 3 games he won't really record a point, which is fine.
yeah,
But it's just the consistency needs to be there, and I think everybody's playing well defensively consistently, which so that's fine. It's just like the mental lapses are hurting them. Like you think of like the Kings game where it's like bam, 3 bad plays and you're down 3-0. And Patrick
yeah.
was like, I like that period, just had 3 bad plays. Like and it's just that's what's hurting them right now. And then the
Yeah.
offense isn't waking up in time. Like the slower starts, like once they can settle down and start better, then I think everything will come to fruition better and you're not chasing the game and you're not as nervous.
And honestly, I mean, this is gonna be what it's Lee Schaefer's first time playing in Toronto on coming up on Tuesday. I don't know. I just feel like it'll be things like that. Obviously, he had that. His first game against the Leafs was 2 goals. He had the overtime winner, right? There's a decent bit of guys from Toronto. Right? I know Pellick's from around there. Horvat's from Ontario. I'm not sure exactly where, but like, Canadian road trip, right? Like, maybe these guys just need to get somewhat close to home. That gets them going, and then that sets the tone the rest of the way. I don't know. It's just I feel like it's always something like that when it's always something small like that. Like maybe that's not necessarily the reason, right? But I just feel like whenever someone really goes on a someone gets on a hot streak, you can point back to something like this, and it's like, yeah, like this isn't necessarily the reason, but kind of lines up with that. I don't know. That's just how the hockey gods work. So maybe this week is what they need to to find some more consistency. You definitely hope. Got to start it off with with a win against Toronto, struggling team. Just take care of business there.
No Matthews.
Yeah, he's done for the year. Like they're struggling. They're struggling up in Toronto. So yeah, definitely just gotta get in there, take care of business. Give me like a nice 4-1 regulation win. Like that's just
That would be
a
good.
game you just feel comfortable with the whole time. Like there's no threat of a comeback really. Like just give us an easy one for the
Well, that's why
fans. Like,
Saturday I was hoping they would just run Calgary out the building, just win like
yeah,
6-0. You know, like you go up 3-0 in the first, just get the fourth one, and like once you get the fourth one, that's kind of like that's
yeah,
game in a way. Like threes, obviously we've seen is doable. Four, you feel like all right, I think we're okay here, and then just have a laugher, like have a confidence game. But these guys usually rise to the occasion, so I think we'll
yeah.
be all right. Then one other guy I want to talk about before we move on to Eiserman to wrap things up. Uh, I think Max Shabanov deserves more of a look. We saw him in 2 games. He played in St. Louis and then he played against LA. And I thought being on the fourth line, obviously tough spot for him being an offensive player. I thought he looked pretty good. He had a lot of good chances. He just hasn't been able to bury them. And he's set up a lot of teammates. He set up Mark Gacko on a 2-on-1 where he probably could have took a shot. And these guys aren't finishing his plays. I feel like he's been very skilled offensively, and in his limited minutes, it's kind of hard to do that. And I mean, I don't know what the future is going to hold for him. I would hope that he comes back, even though he's probably frustrated with the playing time. But obviously, it's a hard adjustment. He said it, and hopefully, they're playing the long game with him because I really do see the skills. And I think if he was playing with somebody offensively gifted, he might be able to get it done. And maybe if they're in a situation where they need a spark and he's in the lineup, maybe put him with the top guys and see what happens. But I don't think it's going to. But I just wanted to put that out there. I think he could be a spark, and he's the guy that usually gets put out and kind of is the scapegoat for things going wrong. Like I get you want fourth line type players, but I feel like he should get in.
Yeah, like I thought he looked really good against St. Louis. I thought he was really noticeable that night. Yeah, I mean it's we've talked about this issue the whole year. It's just too many middle six wingers. Obviously, that's been helped a little bit with Drouin and Siplikov going out. But yeah, it's just there's really no spot for Shabanov to slide in. And it's like, yeah, you can put him on the fourth line, but he doesn't play a fourth line game. Again, he's been fine. It's not like he's been bad on that line, but he's just such a creative offensive player. And it's like, it's unfortunate to see those just being wasted on the fourth line because he's not gonna be having that maybe as many opportunities to use that creativity. So yeah, I would definitely like to see him. Maybe not even for a full game, but yeah, like you said, if he's in the lineup, they need something in the third period. Maybe give him a couple shifts with Horvat and Barzell and just see what he can do there. I believe it was when Palmieri got hurt, he went up and he was playing up like higher in the lineup, and he was really solid. I think he was with Horvat, and he was really solid with Horvat there. And then yeah, something I don't remember what exactly changed. I think it was just a matter of changing the lineup. Like he's definitely shown flashes of being a even maybe not even a top six, just a middle six guy. But yeah, I would love to see him with with some better line mates, more offensive line mates. Just give him more opportunities because I do think eventually he'll thrive. I think Stefan Rosner had an interview with him the other day. He put that in the Almonters, and it's like he was shouting. I'll just talk about the how difficult it is. It's like he said it's like a completely different game in the KHL, and that's what I feel like a lot of people don't really understand how difficult that transition is. Um, and yeah, it's been tough on him. Obviously, we saw it with Siplikov too. Siplikov had a solid year last year, and then this year he really couldn't find his footing. Shabanov started off the year, he was looking solid, then he got hurt, and then that kind of started all with him being scratched. Like when he was finally healthy again, he wasn't always getting back in the lineup. And yeah, it's just such a tough adjustment coming over from the KHL. But even then, like even with that, he's been solid when he has gotten the chance to play. Yeah, I would definitely like to see him get a chance. Maybe with Horvat and Barzell. Who knows? Maybe now they have Richie on the wing. Maybe go Shabanov, Schenn, Richie. I feel like at this point you gotta try out everything. While Love's making he makes tons of adjustments. adjustments in the middle of the game. So Shabanov, if he ends up getting in the lineup, I think he'll have a chance at some point. Um, but yeah, it's definitely unfortunate to see how he's being, how the season's gone for him. Definitely, I'm sure it's not how he pictured it. It's definitely not how a lot of fans pictured it. But yeah, I mean, I think Wall knows. It's just when the team is coming back, it was what 5 straight wins. I mean, obviously counting before and after the Olympic break, and then but yeah, there's all these comebacks. Like it's can't really change too much there. Um, but yes, I definitely would like to see Davenport get a shot.
He just needs to score. I mean, I think if he scores a goal, then that would keep him in the lineup because he's getting all these chances, but it's easy to take him out.
Yeah,
So he's got to prove, like, hey, like, I just made a difference. But also, if some of these guys could finish the chances he sets up, that would be good too.
yeah,
And you mentioned Richie. Touch on him quick. He's been really good. Like I said earlier, Schenn's been a help for him already. He had 2 power play points in the comeback against St. Louis on those that 4 minute one that I think he's the one who drew actually. So
yeah.
that was really good to see from the rookie. And again with him, the points aren't always there, but you're liking what he's doing, and I think the long term game will be really good with him. I think another summer, getting that playoff experience this year will be big for him, and then to get the chance for him to come back and jump. Get his footing, already having played a year and get running early, that'll be big. So I think the sky's the limit for him. Don't look at the points just yet. Look at how he plays in this last month, and I think that that'll set him up well for the future. So excited for Cal Ritchie and how he's been playing. But to wrap up, we're going to talk about Cole Eiserman because Boston University season has come to an end, and now the decision comes on will he sign his entry level contract and join the Islanders organization and turn pro, or will he go back to Boston University for his junior season? Now, there's a lot of college players that are in similar positions. Danny Nelson finished his junior year at Notre Dame. I would think he comes. Quinn Finley's a senior, so I think he has no choice but to come here. His rights will expire in August if the Islanders do not sign him to the entry level deal. I have no worries that will get done sometime soon. I think Wisconsin are they done or they just end? I think maybe.
I'm not sure. I've
So
been following as close as I would have liked.
yeah, but I would think that one gets signed. Nelson could go back, but I don't think he will. I feel like he would be good in Bridgeport. But all these guys, they could all go to Bridgeport. I mean that
Yeah,
this team
that'd be a fun team.
might be fun for those playoffs, getting
Yeah.
a big boost. But
I will say with one thing on Nelson, I'm pretty sure his youngest brother will be a freshman at Notre Dame next year, so I can see him. I can see him stick around there. He already has a brother on the team, I'm pretty sure. And then he'd have the youngest, so he'd be able to play with both of his brothers. So that's something I saw. So I could see him staying at Notre Dame another year. But I think he's ready to make the jump to the AHL. So hopefully he looks at that, looks at his career. I guess he does what's best for him with his career. But again, whatever he chooses, it is what it is. Um, I definitely think Nelson is ready to make the jump to pro, but we'll see if he wants to stick it out one more year and play with his brothers.
he's so controversial for so many people because everyone just fights about him. The shot is lethal. That's the best thing he has. Some people say he can't skate. Some people say he doesn't play defense. It's maybe not the best, but it's definitely not, it's definitely exaggerated. He's
Yeah,
improving in all of these areas, and the injury hindered him this year. I think that was late November. He went down. He missed only a couple weeks. Played in the World Juniors. Well, I guess technically played, but not really because the coach didn't play him, and had a slow start coming back from that. But the last month or so, he's really turned it on. Scored a couple of goals. He's played really well, and he didn't have as good of a year as he did last year. But again, the injury, working through things. I feel like that adversity is good for his career. It didn't just come easy where he's just scoring a million goals. So the two options are he can go to BU and play his junior season there, or he can come to the organization and either go to the AHL and get some top minutes there, or he could. I mean, I guess the third option is he plays for the Islanders right away. I don't think that's a considerable option right now. I don't think he's ready for that. But I think if it was me, I think he should sign the contract and go to the AHL because I think at Boston University he's gotten great experience, he's gotten good coaching, but he's been up and down the lineup, and I think after 2 years there, I don't think that there's anything else for him to learn there and develop. Where I think playing the 35, 40 games there isn't enough for learning more now that he's going to be. I think he's 20 now. Where if he
Mhm.
goes down to the AHL, he's going to play 70 games. I think him playing more games, playing with pros, taking that next step would be more impactful for his development. That's just how I feel. Now, if he went back to Boston University, I wouldn't be upset about it, but that's just what my thought process is.
And I'm with you. I think he should sign. Um, I don't think it'll. I feel like I saw something how Friedman was talking about it on 32 Thoughts, saying it won't be as quick a decision as like Cole Hudson. Obviously, we saw Cole Hudson sign his entry level deal
Right, and he's
yesterday.
ready to go to the Capitals right away.
Yeah, like he'll be in the NHL very soon, like within the week you'd think. With Eisman, I think he'll take maybe he'll take another week or two to decide what he's doing. But yeah, I think especially just with where Bridgeport's at right now, I'm not sure on all the eligibility for the playoffs with the rules, but I'm pretty sure since he's already in the system, even though he's not signed, I think since he's in the system, he's eligible for the playoffs regardless of what league he's in. So yeah, like if he you can see him, I think he should sign. And we can hop in with Bridgeport. They're still in the mix. They had two tough losses this weekend. But they were just to highlight the problem. They lost 3-0 Friday night to the Checkers. They lost 2-0 Saturday night. They didn't score a goal. If you bring in Iserman, a guy who's like his shot is just insane. His release is just it's so quick. You bring a guy like that in, like he'll definitely be helping that team out. You go a whole weekend without scoring because you don't want that when you're in the middle of the playoff race. So you can bring Iserman in, let him play, put him on the second line, third line, whatever. Give him kind of ease him in, and then once he gets more comfortable, you can move him up in the lineup. Like he'd be a key piece for that team. Um, definitely helpful on that playoff push. And then if you can give him AHL playoff games, like that's it's obviously the AHL, it's not the NHL, but it's still like important games. Like it's high leverage games. Like you're giving him that experience now. You're giving him a taste. Even they go out in the first round, right? He's still getting that taste of the playoffs in pro hockey. Um, and then now imagine what a full summer of training, and then get to training camp next year, right? I would imagine if he signs, he'd also start out in Bridgeport next year. Again, getting ahead of ourselves here, but he's had some of that pro experience already, and then yeah, you just kind of take what he learns there, and then just use that to keep improving, keep getting better. Obviously, pro coaching it'll be different. Obviously, Jay Pandolfo is a great coach with it at BU, but being able to, Rocky Thompson's also a great coach. He's had a bunch of guys. He's developed a bunch. He's been a key part of developing guys that have gone on to be really solid in the NHL. So yeah, give him time there, and then kind of just get even more familiar with just the Islander organization as a whole. Signing, turning pro is the best play for him now. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he ends up doing.
Yeah, again, I don't think either decision will be wrong. I trust that I'm sure he'll talk with the organization, he'll talk with BU, he'll talk with, you know, his agents, his family, and they'll come to the right decision. He's a guy that you don't want to mess up. You want to make sure you handle it right because if you do, he could be a superstar in this league and maybe what the Islanders have been missing a true scorer in all areas of the ice, a 5-on-5, but especially on the power play, something they so desperately need help with. So hopefully we get that decision in the next couple of days, and then he could maybe hit the ice with the in some orange and blue colors really
Yeah,
soon, or we'll see him keep training, work on his skating, which maybe wouldn't be the worst thing over the summer, and go back to BU ready to maybe make a play for the Hobie Baker, which would be another good storyline. So
great.
a lot to look at there. But I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Lots covered here, but we're in the home stretch. We'll get another episode out in about 2 weeks. Hopefully, the Islanders' playoff lives look a little bit clearer there, and they win some of these big games, especially the Columbus ones and these Canadian games coming up here. But should be a busy stretch here. Hopefully, Schenn scores and we can get things rolling out. Any final thoughts here?
No, I got nothing. Just hopefully,
Just win.
yeah, have a good road trip. Bring that to the Columbus game.
Yeah. All right. This was On Isles Time, episode number 19. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Brendan Yerkes and Cole Healy, this was On Isles Time. Have a great day.